I'm Megan.
I'm Shan.
And welcome to
The Besties Book Buzz. This is our SUMMERWEEN 2023 vlog, which is very exciting for us because it is our first vlog ever.
Woo, woo.
And it's our first SUMMERWEEN ever. First year we've participated in SUMMERWEEN.
Yeah, and I'm excited especially because I was watching Gabby Reed's when in like June or May of 2020, she and the other co-host, Olivia Reads a Latte, announced their very first year doing this, which, if you don't know, SUMMERWEEN is basically just a week-long readathon that brings the spooky spirit of like October and the fall into summer. Who doesn't love an excuse to read spooky books?
We're gonna just jump right into it.
It might be pretty discombobulated, but be kind to us.
Yes.
It's our first time.
Yes.
But we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sprints that one of the co-hosts of SUMMERWEEN, Olivia Reads a Latte, is hosting just to kick off the readathon, and I kind of am already turning my TBR upside down because I started a book selling job yesterday and got to take home quite a stack of physical ARCs, including None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. So this will really be one of the first thrillers that I've read in a very long time. So the basic premise is that these two women, Alex and Josie, have an accidental meeting at a local pub when they're both celebrating their 45th birthday. A few days after that occurs, Josie kind of finds a way to run into Alex after having researched her online and discovering that Alex has a pretty popular podcast and following. Her main series is one where each episode chronicles a powerful woman's journey from the start of what she has built for herself in terms of professionally to where she is now as an icon in whatever industry she's working in. Josie proposes to Alex that she wants Alex to do a one-off podcast about her, not so much because she has already had great change in her life, but because she knows great change will be coming in the near future. In what I've read so far, you can already see the obsession Josie is forming in regards to Alex. She's stealing stuff from her home whenever she goes over there to record the podcast together, and is comparing both of their lives in a pretty unhealthy way. It'll be interesting to see how chaotic things can get.
Hello. It is day one of SUMMERWEEN, which I'm super excited about. As you can see behind me, my fiance and I built a blanket fort, so that's going to be super great, especially for the first prompt of SUMMERWEEN. But I'm going to go ahead and just get into my TBR. Also, if you hear any noises, there's some lawn mowing happening right now. The first prompt for SUMMERWEEN is to read a book in the dark. And I'm going to do any of these in the dark, but I'm especially excited to read The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas in the dark because I know it is more on the horror side. I haven't really read that much horror, so I'm excited to get into it. Gothic terror at its best, layered with tension, class, religious, and sexual. You will be so immersed in its skillful storytelling that the hours will vanish. Please, mama. So I'm very excited for it. The Hacienda. Next up, we've got Read a Thriller, and for this I chose The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I chose this because I remember it being super hyped up. I also really enjoyed One Last Stop, which takes place, like, it's kind of based around, like, the subway. I just felt like this was right, even though it's going to be a completely different book than One Last Stop, obviously. I love trains and public transportation. Like, it's just so fascinating to me. So I think having that as, like, the backdrop to the thrilling story is going to be really fun. Alright, next up we have a book that takes place in the fall, and for this I had a little bit of a hard time figuring one out. I chose You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. I figured since I don't have any romances, maybe I should throw one in. So I don't really know much about this. I think it's enemies to lovers, but I think I saw something about how the enemy part is, like, really intense. Like, they hate each other. So it's gonna be interesting, but I'm excited for that. All right, next up we've got read a book with black or orange on the cover. And for this, I thought I was real cute and I was like, look, black and orange. But when I picked it up from the library, I realized it was more gold. But anyway, so this is The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell. Again, I don't know too much. I know it's about, like, it centers around a cooking show, but there's a mystery. I'm just excited to see what shenanigans happen on this cooking show. You know, growing up, I always loved watching the cooking competitions, like Gordon Ramsay. I was watching all his shows and stuff, so probably gonna read this one hybrid, and I might read this one first because I've heard that the full cast is really good on audiobook. Alright, and the last prompt for Summerween is read a graphic novel or a manga. And for this, I chose Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. There are a few reasons why I chose this book. One is I know Megan really enjoys it. Another reason is that they're gonna have the adaptation coming out soon. I'm intrigued by the art style. It kind of reminds me, like, just from the front, it's giving, like, Adventure Time. Like, I don't know, I think it's just, like, the face shape of our main character that's really giving it, but I'm excited to read this. That's all the prompts. I am gonna go ahead and start with The Golden Spoon. I'll let you know how it is. So I got through about half of The Golden Spoon earlier today, but I had some other stuff going on, things to do around the house, and I got to see one of my friends from high school, which was really fun. So what I'm going to do now is read a little bit in the dark in the little fort we made. I'm very excited for this. And my goal is to hopefully finish The Golden Spoon by tomorrow, like by the end of the day. We'll see how that goes.
I'm about to start You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Caitlin Bayron. This is a book that I was much anticipating. The author also wrote one of my favorite fantasy duologies, starting with This Poison Heart and continuing with This Wicked Fate. And the character in that book reminds me of Poison Ivy from the Batman comics. For this book, however, it's a departure from her other books, I believe. Caitlin was more of a fantasy author, and this could be her first foray into young adult thriller. This will be what I read for the Read a Book at Night challenge. So the basic premise is our main character, Charity, a young black teenager. She works with several other minors at a terror simulation kind of camp. The staff is in charge with giving a super immersive experience that kind of imitates what horrors ensued during the cult classic movie, and this kind of experience sounds absolutely horrifying to me because they can reach out and grab you, they can restrain you. Once the challenge of like surviving the night ends for this one group of campers, the staff end up having to contend with a strangeness all its own that's in no way part of what they're getting paid for, and I'm yet to see what the threat is. I think I'm gonna pick up a chill cozy game while I listen tonight, and I'm thinking Dwarf Romantic just because that kind of tile building game, I guess you could call it, has been really soothing. So I read You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight over the course of 2 separate nights. Honestly, I'm deciding between a high 3 and a low 4. I knew going into the book that this, as a kind of thriller horror, was definitely very akin to slasher films, which I honestly have no knowledge base. I'd say there were a lot of elements that I definitely enjoyed within the book, especially the fact that all of the workers at this camp, Charity and then all of her friends, they all seem to have a pretty good grip on dealing with the supernaturalness of how the night goes. I wouldn't really say they fit into the trope of characters making stupid decisions that move the plot along and lead to more people getting killed, although definitely don't get attached to anybody because a lot of them do end up dying. The moments between Charity and her girlfriend were very endearing, but beyond that, I would say in terms of what we learn about the characters and how we feel about the characters, a lot of it was pretty rushed. There was definitely more telling than showing, especially when someone's life story is sometimes condensed down to a couple of paragraphs or only mentioned over a few scenes. I don't know if the 200 odd page count really did this material justice. It was a nice change from what is common knowledge about slashers for this plot to definitely have extended beyond what you would typically see in a slasher film. Let's say, for example, I feel like there was more going on in terms of the spooky things, and I feel like it did have a pretty good twist at the end.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you.
So last night I read until I fell asleep, basically. I got to about 50 pages left. I woke up today, I was gonna do some reading, but we actually went to this little market and met up with my friend who was talking about this bookstore in Dayton that I've actually never been to. It was super huge, super cute. I got in trouble because I went to an employee area only, and they were like, hey, this is not for customers. And I was like, I'm sorry. But it was really fun. So we have plans a little bit later. My plan is to finish The Golden Spoon today. Megan, I'm shook at this book. I don't remember what you gave this, but I am really enjoying it. I'm excited to see what happens. I know there have been some people messing with some stuff, so I'm excited to see how it all gets resolved. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this book, and then I'm probably gonna watch Orange is the New Black because I've been kind of obsessed.
Why you never said you felt that way? Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
Okay, so I just finished The Golden Spoon. And I did check Goodreads, and Megan gave it a 4 stars, so I think I was thinking of a different book that you gave a like 2 or 3 star to. Honestly, I really liked the backdrop of the baking show, and it was giving all the Great British Bake Off vibes, which I love. I really enjoyed this, and I didn't realize that it was a debut, so I'm excited to see what else Joseph Maxwell writes, but that's it for now. So day 2 of Summerween going super well. I am hoping to start another book today later, like after we have plans with a friend. Also real quick, I feel like I am living in the Summerween right now with my outfit because I've got my little spooky, oh, my hair's in there. Ooh. I've got my little spooky ghosts, right? So cute. And then I've got the strawberry shirt. So it's like perfect Summerween vibes. Hey, it's me with another update. So I read, this is day 3. I read all of Nimona in one sitting because it was so heckin' good, Megan. Thank you for recommending it. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. Spoiler alert. I'm super excited to see the movie it's being turned into as well. Honestly, this is one of my new favorite graphic novels. Also, if you notice my energy, like it's 5 p.m. on day 3, right? Well, my fiance and I have decided to do an all-nighter tonight. So we actually got coffee. So I'm buzzing, mate. And we are going to eat dinner and watch some Orange is the New Black. But our plan is to I'm gonna hybrid read, but my fiance is interested in reading The Hacienda with me, so we're gonna listen to the audiobook together, and I'll be reading physical as well, so I'm super excited for that. We're staying up all night, so reading in the dark is gonna be happening, and yeah, I'm really excited. The reason that we wanted to stay up all night is because, and I don't think I mentioned this before, but we're actually at my parents' house doing some house sitting and cat sitting, and we're going back tomorrow, and we just want to have a really good last day, I guess like last 24 hours kind of, and we don't want to wake up early tomorrow, so we decided just to stay up all night, which is totally not chaotic at all. So yeah, this is Shushu, by the way. Shushu! Oh my god! I'm literally obsessed with her. So hopefully I will give you an update, or you will see us reading The Hacienda. I'm very excited, but for now we're gonna eat and watch some TV.
half-price bookstore. I'm going to drop off just a small stack of books that I'm about to show you, mostly to browse, and I figured it was a great excuse to visit a bookstore for our first vlog.
Alright, it is day 5 of Summerween, and I did not update y'all at all yesterday. Sorry about that. Life happened. But today I finished the Hacienda. I'm going to talk more about this at the end of the video, but let's just say it wasn't my favorite. It's actually my least favorite book I've read for Summerween so far. So I think that kind of contributed to me not vlogging, and also I was just kind of, I don't know, there's been a lot of stuff happening like with my car, and it's hot outside. We are back at our apartment. We left my parents yesterday. As far as Summerween goes, I have 2 more books left to read in the next few days, and I'm hoping to get to both of them, and I'm feeling pretty confident. Ooh, I don't know. So the first book is The Girl on the Train. This one is definitely more thriller, and then I've also got You Deserve Each Other. This one is more romance, and honestly I don't think it's like spooky at all, but it does take place in the fall, which is why I chose it. I'm kind of thinking after the Hacienda, maybe I should get into You Deserve Each Other. I also have seen a lot of mixed reviews on this one, so if I have 2 bummers in a row, it'll be okay. My fiance is going to be back soon, and we're going to try to fix my car. We're going to try jumping it and all the things. And then we have to give our cat a bath because she's stinky. She has long hair and doesn't clean herself. Kelly, I'm talking about you. Yay. She bad. Daisy's short hair, so luckily we don't have to worry too much about that with her, especially because she's 18. So anyway, hopefully I will be giving you another update. I don't know if I'm going to read it all today. I might read tonight after we do all the things, or we may watch Drag Race, so we'll see.
Given both None of This Is True and A Mind Spread Out on the Ground 5 stars now, you would think that would motivate me to find more great reads, but honestly, I feel like it would be luck that I don't have to discover another 4.5 or 5 stars during this readathon. But in an attempt to change that, I'm moving on to a book that Shanna already rated 5 stars and was further discussed in some SUMMERWEEN sprints that Gabby had that were public, that I'm rewatching, or watching late I should say, because they literally ended like 5 minutes after or before I got home from work. But the book I am talking about is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, and for one, this cover is gorgeous, and two, even though it's a romance, I love that it definitely fits the SUMMERWEEN vibe, as Gabby said in the live, and I trust Shanna's opinions on books pretty good, so I'm really hoping I love this one as much as she did. The main character, Florence, is a ghostwriter for a really popular romance author, but now she's at about a year after a super complicated, heart-wrenching, messy breakup with a not-so-good guy, and she is late, very late, on her deadline for her next book she's supposed to be writing. What's funny in a way about Florence is that she's a ghostwriter, but she's also an individual who can see and talk to ghosts. Her new editor, Ben, or Benji, ends up dying in a car accident, and she's kind of helping him cope with being dead, and the romance kind of starts happening. Unlike normal books in this genre, but I feel like I've been itching for something different in romance, so this was a good pick. The Dead Romantics will fulfill the prompt of reading a book set in the fall. I have some bad news about The Dead Romantics. I don't know if it's because this is the first straight romance that I'm reading after Part of Your World, or romance in general. I can't remember if there was a queer one yet or not. And I've literally had to re-listen to the first 2 hours of the audiobook because none of it was sticking. And so I got further with the second read, but now I'm at about 6 hours into the audiobook and we're just not vibing, we're just not clicking at this point in time. I don't think it's anything wrong to do with the book whatsoever. I definitely want to pick it up sometime soon, but for right now I'm going to soft DNF and put this down, which means I'm doing another bit of TBR shifting, so that we have a graphic novel called Over My Dead Body for the Read a Book Set in the Fall prompt, and then I think I'm going to have The Deep by Rivers Solomon as my read a graphic novel, manga, or novella prompt. And hopefully those are the only changes I have to make to my plans, because honestly, between balancing doing a week-long readathon and then having Jan Agaton's Full Moon readathon coming up for 2 weeks in August, and wanting to mood read, possibly during, but mostly aside from the readathons, I'm getting pretty overwhelmed with the list of books I have coming up, between books I want to get off of my physical TBR shelf, library holds coming in, and arcs that I've just acquired. So, wish me luck. There's absolutely no way for me to articulate my feelings on A Mind Spread Out on the Ground without buying my own copy and fully annotating it. It is a glowing 5 stars for sure. I'm saying that even though I don't feel like I've completely absorbed the material yet. I want more of it to be lodged in my memory, which will only happen upon a reread. I want to point out the titles of some of my favorites. Looking through, I would definitely say the middle is really rockin', but in general, all of them, I believe, I would give 4 or 5 stars, but I would definitely point out Dark Matters, Scratch, 34 grams per dose, On Forbidden Rooms and Intentional Forgetting, Crude Collages of My Mother, and then her response to another essay. So the title of this essay was Sontag and Snapshots, Reflecting on In Plato's Cave in 2018, and yeah, I would say all of them are worth reading, but if you want to skip around, I feel like nothing will be lost. And I also love how the lengths of each essay could vary greatly. Some of them in audiobook form were near an hour to get through, other ones were closer to 15 minutes. I read this book to cover the prompt of read a book with orange or black on the cover, even though it talks about her life and talks about social issues, so it's not pertaining to one like season of the year in particular. Don't tell me this cover doesn't scream fall to you, like with the leaves, and I love the color scheme and everything about it. Over visiting Shanna and AJ earlier today, I literally finished the entirety of Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo, and I really enjoyed this so much. I haven't read too many spooky graphic novels because I'm more about like the contemporary graphic novels and the memoir ones and superheroes too. So this story follows some characters who are currently boarding at like a private school for magical teenagers, and I appreciated the diversity throughout the novel. There's even a gender non-conforming character who is one of the main characters, and the plot kind of centers around the main character really wanting to search for her close friend who went missing more towards the beginning of the school year and ends up being missing for weeks and counting, when it seems like none of the authority figures are doing anything. And it's pretty suspicious because it's like, why does it seem that they don't want her to be found? So she teams up with some of her classmates, and her roommate is somewhat of a nuisance throughout the story. She seems to be out to get this squad. I ended up giving this 4 stars because it was really solid, but I don't think it's a favorite or one that I would really want to keep on my shelves. But it definitely has inspired me to pick up more spooky graphic novels. Hey, so we're here to end out the vlog. We just wanted to do kind of a quick wrap up to summarize how the week had been for us. So Shanna, what was your highlight of the week in general?
Yeah, so my highlight was a 5-star instant. I read this in one sitting, and it is the graphic novel Nimona. I read this for the graphic novel prompt, clearly. But I just love the story, even though I'm not super into like superhero stuff or anything.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, I really liked seeing the villain side, and also Nemona's just a great character, and I love the chemistry between the characters.
Yes. We three, including like Shanna's fiance AJ, we're gonna watch the Nimona adaptation on Netflix here soon. So I'm definitely excited, and we will all have read the graphic novel by then.
Yes.
And then my favorite has been, and kind of bittersweetly, it was my first read of Summerween, but it's None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, which goes on sale August 8th, because this is an arc. It's showing me that something that I love in books now is toxic relationships between two women, not in terms of romantic relations, but obsession. And that was really fascinating. Also, the elements of it being about the making of a podcast and just kind of uncovering this one lady's life and whether or not she is an unreliable narrator.
My next favorite book from Summerween was The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell. This fit the prompt of orange and black on the cover, orange or black on the cover, and it's a cozy baking show with murder and shenanigans happening, and I really enjoyed it, and the end kind of caught me off guard. I did have my suspicions, and they were incorrect.
Oh,
and I love that. I love that. I was surprised. I was laughing. I was shook. I enjoyed it.
so my next read I want to mention is my other 5-star, which is A Mind Spread Out on the Ground. And I read this one for the Read a Book with Orange or Black on the cover. The author wrote a lot of personal essays that went really in depth about her life and society in relation to her being indigenous and having certain family struggles. But overall, highly recommend, and I will be adding this one to my collection because this was a library copy.
And next up, I read You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. And this one fit the read a book that takes place in the fall prompt. And I mentioned this earlier, but I struggled to find a book that took place in the fall, like just from, reviews and looking around.
Yeah, that was a really hard prompt, Gabby and Olivia. Dang.
Yeah, it's harder than it looks. It's like, you don't want to go for the obvious, like, Halloween-centric books, right? But it was a tough one. I think it is good to go in knowing that the engaged couple, like, from the very get-go, basically, they do not like each other, and they're kind of playing chicken to see who can call off the wedding first or who won't call off the wedding first. So it was a really interesting and entertaining story. And then what's your next book, Megan?
Mine next book is Over My Dead Body, which I didn't read for the graphic novel prompt, but this is my set in the full book as well. We're kind of like, without realizing it, going in order of the prompts the same. Very nice. Very, very spooky. 4 stars.
So, my last 2 books I actually didn't really vlog a lot of, but I'll go ahead and talk about The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I gave this book a 3.5 star. I read it for the thriller prompt. So basically it follows this woman who takes a train every day to and from London to go to work and come home. And you find out her life's kind of falling apart, and she kind of attaches this connection that she doesn't have to these people who live a few doors down from where she used to live and where her ex currently lives with his new wife. But she's like, oh my gosh, they're the perfect couple. Like, they are so beautiful together. Like, this is the life that I used to have and that I wish I had still. And shit starts to go down. Let's just say that. Things get complicated, the storylines get entangled with one another, and I was really captivated by it. But then, like, I kind of started getting bored a little bit, so that's why I gave it a 3.5. Because it was just like, okay, like, I kind of get it at this point. I think that was around the 60% mark. But I did like it, and I thought it was really interesting, so 3.5 stars.
So unfortunately, my last 2 are 3 stars. I read The Deep by River Solomon, and that one I've been really intrigued by for a long while, but I knew going into it that at the most maybe it would be 4-ish stars, because the complaint a lot of people have was the length of the book, because I read it as an audiobook, but it was only 4 hours. And hey, I do love that River Solomon be calling readers out, because in the afterward, he was like, I see you finished the audiobook and you listened to it on double speed, didn't you? And regret it now. And I'm like, yes!
Because you re-listened to part of it, or just
Yeah,
the whole thing?
the whole book. I listened to The Deep twice, because the first time, it just seemed like one chapter, this one thing was happening, another chapter, like some other major event was happening, and just like, even though it was 4 hours, there was so much it seemed like going on, but it seemed to be more cohesive the second time. But then again, I needed more. I needed it to be like double the length, I feel like. And it was a really captivating story, but I feel like all in all I didn't connect with the characters. And that one was for the prompt of read a graphic novel, manga, or novella.
Alright, my last book that I read was The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. This one I read for the Read a Book in the Dark prompt. This was the closest to horror that I've really gotten. I mean, besides like Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, which I read last year. But this was supposed to be a spooky time, and I think it was just like really hard to get into for me. I would recommend it if you like the kind of supernatural, like eerie type of books. There's also a lot of discussion about like class and, you know, like roles in society, so I thought that was interesting. But I gave it a 3-star, and it took me a long time to get through it, and that's why I didn't vlog, because I just like wasn't feeling it. So that's why you didn't really see me reading The Hacienda, except for that first time when we started it in the dark. And what was your final read?
Mine was You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Caitlin Bayron, and I already talked more at length about this one because I was most disappointed with this read because of how much I really love the author's other books. That was read for the prompt of Read a Book in the Dark as well, and it both wasn't really scary to me in the first place, and reading it in the dark didn't really enhance the scary parts either. But yeah, that was 3 stars, maybe like a high 3 though. So, would you consider our first readathon a success?
I would say so. I'm really satisfied with these 3 books that I read. The other 2, like, I'm glad I read them, just to like have read them. But these, I'm like, they're gonna be living in my head on low rent or rent free. I'm not really sure. But I'm really excited that I found some good books, and I'm excited to read more by the authors. These 2 are definitely debuts. I'm holding them like babies. You Deserve Each Other and The Golden Spoon were actually debuts. And would you consider Nimona a debut? Because I know it was a webcomic.
I think so.
So I'm very content with how Summerween went, and it was super fun. I really like doing the Instagram prompts. And I don't know, what would you say? Was it a success for you?
I say that I wish there were some higher ratings, especially for some that I was looking forward to the most. But yeah, my 2 5 stars, and I mean, hey, 2 books were 5 stars.
Yeah.
Were really great for me because I don't read essays hardly at all or thrillers hardly at all, so those were massive surprises for me. And yeah, definitely like vlogging it was an experience for sure. We want to do more vlogs, and it will get better. We will get our shit under control.
It's harder than it looks.
Thank you so much for coming with us on this journey.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed.
Yeah. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, hopefully really soon.
See ya.